Hey everyone, in this video, I want to show off the brand new Cortex 2.4. Now, it's actually been out for a couple of weeks now, but we have a demo of some of the big new features in 2.4, and I want to share them with you. In the past, I've gone through all of the features or quite a few of the features. I'm not going to do that in this video. We're just going to focus on 4 of the biggest features in Cortex 2.4. That's probably going to be the format for these videos going forward. We're going to highlight some of the big features and leave the rest to the release notes, which you can find for 2.4 down in the video description. You can also find all of the release notes on our documentation site, which is also linked down from the video description. Now, let's get to it. So you'll see I'm starting with our search screen. And this is not just our Cherwell search screen. You'll actually notice that I'm not showing any Cherwell data. In Cortex 2.4, we've added a lot more to Cortex, and actually over the course of the last several releases, it's not just about archiving Cherwell data. It's not just about archiving even, and we'll see some of that in this demo. So on this screen, I'm browsing a data source. In this case, it's our demo Halo instance that we're connected to. This is the Halo instance that we've used to show how we can connect our email boxes to create new tickets in a Halo instance, and some of the other actions that we can take. In this case, I'm viewing some tickets from Halo within Cortex. It's connected to our live Halo instance. And I've run a search so that I get a single record back. This searching has been in Cortex for a while. And what I'm going to do here is run an action. Now, this specific action has a step called summarize and suggest actions. And this is leveraging our new generative AI functionality to do exactly what it says, to summarize the ticket and suggest actions. And if we look at how that's implemented, you can see there are 2 steps. One is just a pop-up, which you'll see the result of in a minute. Summarize and suggest runs a prompt against an LLM. If we look at what the prompt is, we can see summarize this ticket and suggest possible remediation steps. We're passing in the summary and the details. This 2 and this 3 refer to the tokens that behind the scenes that means the summary field and the details field. There are certainly other things that I could include in this prompt, but for this demo, this is simple enough. So let's exit the action definition. I'm going to click run the action. We can ignore that for a second. This is a misconfiguration on my end. And now it's going to run the action. Now this LLM is running locally. It's built into Cortex. It does not ship with Cortex. You get to choose your own model. We have some other videos about how to set that up and how that all works. And AI is by no means something that you have to use. You can actually turn it off globally, and it doesn't even run. It doesn't even try to run unless you have provided a model. Now, here we have a suggestion, which is, I've summarized the ticket for you. The user generated reporting that your desk phone does not have a dial tone. And in this case, it seems like it actually needs a little bit more information from the ticket. This ticket is actually fairly bare bones. If we drill into it, we can see it just says desk phone doesn't have dial tone. And that's it. So maybe this particular ticket isn't enough for the LLM to provide more details. But with that, we can build more complicated workflows beyond that, and that becomes the foundation of our help desk process. Now, let's move on to some other features. So, as I mentioned, no Cherwell archiving in this demo. However, we did add Ivanti Neurons demoing, Ivanti Neurons archiving. So let's pick incident. That sounds good. And here we go. Here is, no, that's actually showing some Halo data. Let's refresh this page and let's go search for incident again. Here we go. I've got some Ivanti data now. And we see all of the data coming from a local database containing Ivanti data. If I drill into one of those forms, not only do I see the simple form that I showed when we were viewing Halo data, we actually see something that looks a lot like an Ivanti Neurons form. There are a few pieces missing that we'll add over the course of 2.5, probably, some of these more complex controls. But for the most part, all of the data is showing up. This is all pulling from the incident record. All of these related items are pulling from their appropriate records as well. There's no master incident and so on and so forth. But we get to see all of the data pulled directly from the Ivanti database and displayed pretty much exactly the way you would expect to see it in Ivanti. And again, we'll continue to make improvements, modifications, enhancements over the course of the next release cycle. And we appreciate your feedback. If there's something specific that you want to see from your Ivanti database that either we're not showing right now or you're not sure if we're going to show, let us know. Give us some feedback, leave a comment down below, or send me an email, and we'll get it in for 2.5. And if you'd like to see a pre-release of 2.5 and try it out on your own Ivanti data, let us know as well, and we can certainly get that to you. Now, moving on, let's talk about some more data sources that we've added. One is that we've added an API data source. So this allows us to connect to basically any system in the world. As long as it has an API, we can connect to it. And this is actually the foundation that we're building some of our other integrations on. So let me go and show you what the back end of this looks like. So of course, for an API, we have how to connect to it, right? Things like the base URL. And if there's some sort of API definition, Swagger JSON, or we do support YAML, you can either specify a URL here or upload the file with this button here. Specify the authentication. This particular API that I'm using is the pet store API that SmartBear/Swagger makes available to everybody so that you can test out. It's basically a demo API. So it's public, it's open, it doesn't require any authentication. But if your API, and hopefully your API does require authentication, you can choose the type of authentication here. And because Cortex thinks in terms of tables and records, kind of like a database, we need some way to expose this API, which may take any sort of shape, and kind of massage it into something that looks more like tables and records and that sort of thing. And that's what this table screen is. So over here, we can see that I've already defined a pet table. There we go. And you get to specify different operations similar to the CRUD operations, create, read, update, delete, that you would have on a database. Of course, read is actually, there's get a particular record and there's get a list of records. So we have a couple different options here. I've defined the get operation, get pet/find by status. And this one's actually a little bit weird. It's not just get pet and it gives me a whole list of pets back. I have to specify what status. So we have a parameters option. This gets pulled from the Swagger document, the OpenAPI specification, and indicates what parameters need to be provided. I can, of course, add more if I want to provide more, but at the very least, I need to add the required parameters. In this case, it's the status. It goes in the query string, and I'm going to look for available pets. So I've set that up here. And there are a few other options around paging and searching, and if the API requires some more complex, a body, or let's say this is a post and I have to provide like a search template or something like that, there are ways to specify that here. This is a fairly simple, fairly well-behaved API. And So I don't have to specify any of these other options. I can specify that I'm going to get something called a pet back. Again, this is something that's defined in the OpenAPI spec, or declared in the OpenAPI spec, and give it some more information about the ID field happens to be the ID of the pet. And we can save that. And now if we go back to browse, we can pull up pet store and go to the pets table, and we see some pets, right? And we get all the information coming back from the API. Now, this is a public API, so all of the data is all kind of wonky. But this is data coming from an API that we didn't create. We didn't define the rules of this API, but we can import this data, or not even import, just view this data from Cortex. That means we can run actions against it. That means we can use it in email monitors or other Cortex actions as data sources, and means that Cortex can interact with just about any system that you currently use, are planning on using. The sky's the limit. Now, also over on the data sources screen, you might have noticed that I have an InvGate data source. That's right, we have native support for InvGate. InvGate does have a REST API, so it's built on the same sort of structure that the API data source is built on top of. But we know what the InvGate API looks like, so we don't have to specify all of those endpoint to mapping configurations like we had with the API. So in InvGate, it's very simple. There are just a few fields to fill out. Let's just set up a new one. So we'll go InvGate, specify the server URL, the token URL, the client ID, client secret, and some scopes. All of these are available when you set up a client. You set up Cortex as a client in the InvGate configuration, and all of these values are provided to you as part of that setup process. We'll have a separate video describing how to do that and documentation that'll walk you through those steps. But with these 5 settings, drop them in. You can test the OAuth authentication. Import configuration pulls in some things like your categories and users and that sort of thing, very similar to how we've set things up with Halo and some of the other integrations. And then you can use this anywhere that you can use a data source. So that means email monitoring, browsing data sources, and actions. And with that, those are the 4 major features that went into Cortex 2.4. Again, there are many more things that we added to this release. You can find the full release notes down in the video description and on our documentation site. And if you want to know more about Cortex 2.4 or see it in action on your systems, you can contact us. Links down in the description. We also have a weekly users group every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We also have a Discord server. You can find links to get to all of that down in the video description. Thank you for watching. I hope you're as excited about Cortex 2.4 as we are. Stay tuned for everything else we have planned for Cortex 2.5, but don't wait. Download Cortex 2.4 and start playing around with it, trying it out for your own purposes. And if you need help, we're just a click away. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.